Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk about some very exciting news, and when I say news, I mean... Look, at this stage, we're going to categorize it as a rumour. Now, the information comes from the lovely Primal Luga over at Poker Guardian, and this is news that comes from sources we trust. And it is news that I believe, and if I didn't, I wouldn't be bringing it to you. Anytime I'm bringing you the news, even where it's a rumour, unconfirmed, etc., I'm always having a little bit of a look to try and make sure that it is stuff that can be relied on. I cannot promise you that it is definitely true. It might not be. But I absolutely can tell you that this is exactly the kind of news which has proven to be true in the past. It comes from the same kind of source that has proven to be reliable in the past, and it is something that I absolutely believe is true. Cool? Cool. Now, there are three things to talk about, but one of them absolutely is that we are getting a Sword and Shield 10.5 set. A new special set. Now, it's being listed with a placeholder of summer 2022, so we don't have a proper date, but we do have a list of products which sound like a special set. Now, when I say special set, I mean the kind of set where you cannot just go into a shop and buy booster packs or booster boxes. You have to buy individual products, and they have them in. So like we saw with Shining Fates, for instance, which was only available in those products like tins and pin collections and things of that nature. Or more recently, we saw Celebrations, and you couldn't go and buy a pack of Celebrations, and yes, I know some stores did actually sell them, but again, we're talking about stores that have opened packs and resold them. That's not the same thing. And then you had all kinds of stuff like the Charizard collection or the Pikachu V Max collection, things of that nature. Although, to be clear, Celebrations was different to most of them. Things like that Pikachu V Max figure collection and the Ultra Premium collection, as cool as they are, and they are extremely cool, don't expect to be seeing them again. I talked about them at the time, and I talked about them when I did the openings. They're products that don't really make much business sense to make. The main reason to make them is it's our 25th anniversary and these things are cool. Don't expect them to be coming back. So what have we got listed? Well, we've got an Elite Trainer box listed. Makes perfect sense. That's about what we would expect. A V Collection box. And again, we've seen them, we saw Charizard back with Celebrations. And then over in Shining Fates, we saw things like the Pikachu. So that all completely tracks. A Pokeball tin. Now, this is a little bit weird. And I think we may have had a little bit of... Well, look, Pokeball tins don't come as special sets. They come here and there roundabout. What I believe has happened here is that we've got listings for the special set, but also some listings for some regular products which have got mixed up in here because they're coming out around about the same time, which incidentally would not be particularly unusual. I mean, if we go back to Shining Fates, the first wave of Shining Fates was released on March the 5th. You know what else was released on March the 5th? Some Pokeballs. Level Ball, Great Ball, and Premier Ball. Yeah, they were actually released on the same day as Shining Fates. So I believe that's essentially what's happened here, is that they have been listed on the same day because they're coming out on the same day. I wouldn't expect the Pokeballs to be part of this new special set. But then we got mini tins coming, and mini tins are exactly what we would expect from a special set. So that all completely tracks. That sounds about right. A premium collection. Now, we don't know exactly what this is. This could be something like the Shiny Dragon Ball V Max, which is, of course, listed as a premium collection. So I would expect something like that. A super premium collection. Now, this one's weird because I'm not entirely sure. I don't believe... And I will have a little bit of a check and make sure I'm not being a big dumb dummy here. But I don't believe anything for Shining Fates was listed as a super premium collection, which I do find very interesting. I mean, even if you look at Celebrations, we had the Ultra Premium collection. And then we had the Pikachu V Max box, which was listed as a premium figure collection. Super premium collection, I'm not entirely sure. That one we'll have to wait and see a little bit more of. And then also V Battle Decks. Now, V Battle Decks come as a pair, and we got listings for V Battle Decks and V Battle Decks Bundle, which again makes sense because you can buy them individually or as a pair. Look, as far as I'm concerned here, this is the same as we talked about for the tins. We are getting some new V decks, but it just so happens they're being released on the same day. I would not expect V Battle Decks to actually be coming as part of the set. That doesn't really make a huge amount of sense to me. So, again, I would take this with a pinch of salt. I think they're coming out at the same time, but I don't think they're actually coming out as part of the set. So I think the Pokeballs are different, and I do think the V Battle Decks are different. So that leaves us with Elite Trainer Box, V Collection, Mini Tin, Premium Collection, and Super Premium Collection, which honestly all sounds about right for a new special set. Now, I don't even want to try and get into what's going to be in a special set. We do not have any kind of information. But the one thing I do want to mention is that we know there are a whole bunch of cool things in VMAX Climax, and we know that we are not getting all of them in Brilliant Stars. We know that we are getting 30 of the 70 character rares and character super rares from VMAX Climax being brought into Brilliant Stars. So I think, if nothing else, this would, and again, I can't say this is what's happening, but it would make sense that Brilliant Stars, the ones that don't make it in there, would make it into here. Similarly, if there are things missing like full art supporters and gold cards from VMAX Climax, I could imagine them being put in here, but there's a very good reason I gave you a very, very pronounced if there, because we honestly have absolutely no idea whatsoever. So they might be in Brilliant Stars, they might not. What I will say is anything that's missing from Brilliant Stars, any of those super rares, I do think it then becomes a pretty sensible prediction that they would end up in this special set. But we're going to have to wait until we see the whole of Brilliant Stars to know exactly how that's going to work out. Now, we've also been told there is another premium tournament collection coming. Now, this is currently being listed for next year, and I believe we talked previously about the fact this should be coming back, and apparently it is going to contain a full art supporter and free holos. In the same way as when we looked at the Marnie Premium Tournament Collection, we saw that it had a full art Marnie, and then it had 3 of the autographed Marnie. So of course we then look at candidates and we go, well, hang on a second, what could this be? And we did actually get 4 autographed cards coming in Japan a little while ago, featuring Bee, Nessa, Leon, and Raihan. It's almost certainly not going to be Leon. And the reason here is extremely simple. We need to look, assuming we're going to get a full art and an autograph, and we don't know we're getting an autograph, but if we extrapolate from before, it's a sensible prediction, nothing more than a prediction. But if we assume for a second that we are going to be getting a full art supporter and 3 autographs, then our only options are Raihan, B, and Nessa, because they had a second full art in VMAX Climax, which we need to get at some point, and they got the autograph cards. We don't have another full art of Leon, so I don't see how we would get a Leon Premium Tournament Collection, because there is no full art that we're waiting for. That doesn't really make any sense. So I think you can cut Leon off the end and assume it's going to be one of the other 3. Yes, it could be all 3 of them. Of course it could. But I wouldn't predict that because we've not heard there's going to be 3 and there was only 1 last time. And remember, last time there could have been 3. So I think it's fair to assume that it will just be the 1. No, we don't know that it's going to be a full art and 3 autographed holos. We know it's going to be a full art and 3 holos. But again, if you read between the lines here and we look at what we saw before, I think assuming it's going to be B, Nessa, or Raihan does seem absolutely sensible. And by now, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know I am absolutely cheering for it to be B, but that's one of the things we will have to wait and see. Now, the other thing we've been told is that Sword and Shield 10 is coming in May, but, well, yeah, obviously Sword and Shield 10 is coming in May. Because Brilliant Stars is Sword and Shield 9, and that's coming in February, and we have new sets in February, May, August, and November. So, you know, spoiler alert, but Sword and Shield 11 is going to be coming in August, and Sword and Shield 12 is going to be coming in November. And we've been given some information about what we should be expecting, including booster packs, obviously, the Elite Trainer Box, obviously, Battle Stadium, obviously, but then we've been told we're getting Summer Tins, League Battle Decks, and a premium collection box. And none of these are particularly new, but of particular interest to me is the League Battle Decks. The most recent of those did feature your Single Strike and Rapid Strike Urshifu. These are always amazing decks that give you really playable decks and give you good versions of them. The question I have got, and I have absolutely no proof one way or the other, would Pokemon dare to make a Mew Genesect League Battle deck? Now, I worry that's too much, because generally speaking, you get a 2-2 line of the VMAX. So would they really give you, 2 Mew V, 2 Mew VMAX, and 2 Genesect V? I can tell you that if they did, they would be making one of the absolute greatest products they've ever made, and it would be amazing. It's interesting, because they always try and pick good decks to include, and whoever is planning these decks wants to do a Mew Genesect one. I refuse to believe the person planning these decks is not trying to argue in favour of Mew Genesect, because it's the best deck right now. It absolutely should be the top contender. But also from a cost point of view, trying to get one, as in a deck, which relies on a VMAX and then a separate Pokemon V. Again, I refuse to believe that the person choosing these decks isn't making an impassioned plea to get this included, because their job presumably is to make the best League Battle deck they can, but I do think that might be too expensive. So, yes, it's an obvious candidate, but also it may very well not work. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, like I said at the beginning, this is unconfirmed. We believe it. There are good sources, and I expect all of this to end up being true. Again, things like Sword and Shield 10.5, that special set, expect it to be separate from the Pokeballs and the V Battle Decks, like we said. But other than that, this all seems legit. This seems on the up and up. But again, we'll have to wait and see to have it confirmed properly. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know how excited you are by this. I want to know, quite frankly, anything you would like to tell me. So go nuts in the comment section, would you? But be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.